India witnessed a trade surplus for the first time in 18 years in June 2020, and many celebrated this event as it was a testament that India was becoming self reliant or Atmanirbhar. But was it really an event of celebration? Hi everyone, my name is Kasliwal, and today we're going to talk about the reality of trade surplus in India. But first, what is a trade surplus? Well, when a country's exports are more than the country's imports, then that is a trade deficit. But when a country's imports are greater than a country's exports, then that is a trade surplus. Now, what does that mean? Exports mean that when a domestic company produces something domestically and sells it abroad, that contributes to a country's exports. So, for example, when Tata, an Indian company, manufactures a car in India and sells it abroad, then Tata is contributing to India's exports. Similarly, when a country buys things from abroad, then that is that country's imports. So, for example, when we as Indians buy electronics from a company like Samsung, which produces that good abroad, then we are contributing to the country's imports, to India's imports. So, when a country sells more stuff abroad than what it buys from abroad, that is a trade surplus. A country buys more stuff from abroad than it sells abroad, then that is a trade deficit. India recorded a trade surplus for the first time in 18 years, and that was considered an event of celebration because people thought that, well, it must be because of flourishing exports that we have achieved a trade surplus. But that wasn't true. As you can see in this graph, India's exports have been falling substantially for the past 4 months. And they did fall even in June when the country recorded a trade surplus. Similarly, imports have also been falling. In fact, in April, both exports and imports fell substantially, and while they recovered back in May, imports fell drastically in June, helping India to record a trade surplus. So, India's trade surplus is not because of flourishing exports, but because of declining imports. But that could also be good, right? I mean, that means that we're becoming self-reliant. Unfortunately, no. Imports are divided into three categories: petroleum and related products, gold and silver, and others. The decline in imports was mainly led by a sharp decline in gold, petroleum goods, coal, electronics, and machineries. Because of the hike in gold price, people have been buying less gold and silver, and that is understandable. But the fact that people have been buying less of fuel and consumer and capital goods, that is a cause of concern. Does that mean that people suddenly stop transporting from one place to another, or transporting goods from one place to another, or stop running their factories so that they don't require fuel or consumer or capital goods? Well, given the slowdown that India has been facing, which has led to a lot of income and job losses, people haven't been earning enough. So they have had to cut down on their consumption. Given the fall in consumption has led to a cut in production as well, the cycle that I've explained in a previous video, production cuts have led to less buying of capital consumer goods as well as fuel. Hence, weak domestic demand has led to derailed industrial activity in India, which in turn has led to a fall of demand of imports. Thus, to conclude, India faced a trade surplus not because of flourishing exports or because of a fall in imports for the right reasons. Imports fell not because we became self-reliant or Atmanirbhar, but because people did not have enough money to be able to buy goods.